In the early 1940s, a German U-boat under the command of Nazi Admiral Karl Dönitz, heading east of Suez, logged encountering a ship far off in the distance. They tried making contact with the ship to no avail. However, moving in the direction it was last seen, it was later found that there wasn't any ship in the vicinity to even begin with. The question now is, what did they see in the waters? The Earth's oceans hold many stories of unsolved mysteries and sightings, lacking in explanations that tweak one's imagination. For centuries, sightings of mysterious ships sailing across the oceans have been reported by numerous people. Many of these eyewitness accounts tell different stories of ghost ships, but today we'll be focusing on one of the most famous and most iconic ghost ships, and that is the Flying Dutchman. The legend of the Flying Dutchman emerged in the 1600s. It all started with a ship owned by the Dutch East India Company. In 1641, Captain Van der Decken and his crew were seafaring merchants, sailing from the Netherlands to the East Indies to buy some exotic goods. They had quite a few close calls along the way, but they eventually reached the destination. They made the necessary repairs to the ship, and when all was said and done, they made the journey back to Europe. While rounding the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa, they ran into a ferocious storm which almost capsized the ship. Witnessing the force of nature, the crew thought it would be best to turn around. However, the captain refused and ordered them to press on, also declaring that he was going to seal the waters and that no storm was going to stop him. The exact phrase he used was, "until doomsday." The captain's statement is said to have put a curse on the ship, and he and his crew were condemned to sail the seven seas for eternity without being able to make port. There are other versions as to how the captain and his crew were cursed. A story suggests that there was a mutiny during the storm which resulted in the captain killing the leader and tossing him overboard the ship. As the body of the leader hit the water, the ship spoke to the captain about his decision to press on, and the captain replied that he will keep trying to reach his destination till his doomsday. This led to the fate of the Flying Dutchman to sail the oceans for eternity with a ghostly crew of dead men, and would bring disaster to anyone who encountered them. In another version of the story, a real-life captain by the name of Bernard Fokker was the captain of a ship who sailed the same route and was able to travel from the Netherlands to Java in 3 months. This led many sailors to believe that he had sold his soul to the devil for such an incredible speed. There have been numerous sightings of the Flying Dutchman, and many were recorded around the Cape of Good Hope. All these sightings happened when the weather was stormy. It was never sighted in favorable conditions, and while sometimes it was seen moving at an incredible speed through calm waters, it was more often spotted when there were storms kicking up. Sailors believe it is meant as a bad omen to ships which have sighted it, resulting in the ships getting destroyed, suffering bad luck, and impending disasters. One of the prominent sightings was accompanied by unforeseen tragedy. It occurred on the 11th of July 1881 in the Australian waters between Melbourne and Sydney. It was seen by Prince George V, who was serving as a midshipman as part of the ship's crew on HMS Bacchant, a British Royal Navy vessel. One of the 13 crewmen who first spotted it fell to his death from the rigging the very next day. On a stormy night in 1835, a British ship was said to have almost collided with another ship as it sped towards them at full sail. But just before the collision, it suddenly vanished. Another popular incident occurred in 1839 when a group of people at Glencairn in Cape Town saw a ship approach the shore under full sail, but just before hitting the shore, it disappeared into thin air. The most recent sighting was that of the German submarine during World War II while on its voyage through the east of Suez. Even though we don't hear sightings of the ghost ship anymore, in no way does it take away the charm and mystery from its myth. There were efforts to understand what was really happening. There were those who preferred to believe in its ghost stories and darkness, and there were those that wanted to get to the root of everything, that everything has a scientific explanation. One of the best logical explanation is the superior mirage, which is also called Fata Morgana. This is a natural optical phenomenon which occurs after moisture and atmospheric condition combined with light results in a displaced image of distant objects. And it also tricks our eyes into seeing objects that aren't really there. This phenomenon can be seen at sea, on land, or even in deserts, where it can involve almost any kind of distant object. This illusion at sea sometimes makes a ship that is beyond the limits of the naked eye reflect on the water, making us see a ship floating above the sea. This naturally plays tricks on the minds of sailors who start thinking that they are seeing a ghost ship, more particularly the ghost of the Flying Dutchman. Despite the scientific explanation, some people still prefer to believe in the existence of the ghost ship. Very common among sailors respecting apparitions. The apparition of the Flying Dutchman still continues to haunt those seas in which the disasters took place. Until date, it is considered by mariners as the worst of all possible omens. Or maybe it's just superstition.